So, I'm in the chair, but I did not DNF a book, and I'm also a mess because I literally was sick not long ago. I'm a mess. But today's video, I'm going to be talking about one of my new favorite books, and it is Lore by Alexandra Bracken. This book is top tier, like probably my number 5. If I had to like go through all the books I went and read this year that are on my favorite lists, it would have to be number 5. It was so good. So this story is actually a retelling of Medusa. This follows a young girl named Lore, or Melora, and she lives in a world where a certain group of gods have been cast down onto Earth from Olympus, and for 7 days every 7 years they become mortal. And there are different like houses that are descendants from Greek heroes like Perseus and Achilles and Odysseus and Jason. And basically these houses can hunt down these mortal gods and kill them and take their powers. I just think that's such a cool topic. Like, that's something I've never really seen other than Percy Jackson. But even Percy Jackson was like, it was for the young kids. Like, you're in middle school, here, read Percy Jackson. Lore is meant for like high schoolers because it doesn't have spice in it, but it does have like very mature topics, especially if you know Medusa's story and what Poseidon did to her. It's not a kid's book, but I think that the book is just wonderful. So, basically Lore meets an old friend at a boxing match. And when she finally manages to get home with her roommate, she finds the goddess Athena at her doorstep dying. And Athena swears to her that if Lore heals her and keeps her alive, Athena will kill the new Ares named Wrath, who is responsible for her parents' and her sister's death. Like, wiping out her entire family, basically. And she agrees. I will tell you one thing, this book literally had me in loops. Like, I was just reading it and I would like go, no way, no way, no way. Like, I literally could not help myself from saying things out loud. That's how good this book is. I gave it 5 stars. I just could not give this masterpiece 5 stars. And this is like the first retelling in a long time where I enjoyed it. The last retelling I read was a Phantom of the Opera retelling, and I DNF'd that book. I hated that book. This one I love to death. So I'm so happy I finally got a good retelling book, because they can be just wonderful if they're done right. What else is there other than this book is amazing? It really takes the Medusa story to a new perspective. And it really does bring, like, Greek mythology to a new light. Totally different than how Percy Jackson did it. Percy Jackson was just like, oh, gods are coming down and having children with mortals, and these are demigods, and they all go to a camp, and they go on quests, and they do awesome things, and it's just like, honestly, that couldn't have been really realistic in Greek mythology sense, in a way. Like, these young little kids are running around with no supervision, and bad things are happening when they're around. Like, there's an attack on the, what was it? St. Louis Arch and stuff like that. Like, it was very odd. It was very actiony and really would keep a middle grader's attention, but lore took it to another place. Lore kept you in New York. You were in New York, you were exploring New York, and then you had threats. But it wasn't like young kids having threats. My glasses are dirty. I'm not going to worry about it. But you had these threats, and it made sense. Like, these houses, these different houses have people in their pockets to make sure that if something's there, it's explained away or it's pushed away, and it's like, that makes sense. They have people in their back pockets. They're paying these people to look another way. And we weren't going from, oh, we were in New York to now we're in Los Angeles to we're in Los Angeles, now we're heading to Florida. It was just like we were going all over the place. Percy Jackson, and here we're staying in a good location. And you're seeing new things and different lights about these different locations. And you really feel like Lore, the main character who grew up in New York, she knows her way around. She connects with these streets. She belongs here. Where with Percy, it was just like, okay, but he's never in technically where he grew up. We don't know really anything about his connection to the city because we're going everywhere else all the time. It's just so weird. And Lore just, I think Alexandra Bracken, she just did this book wonders. And I believe that in her or not her author's note, but the back of the book where it talks about her, she does study in Greek mythology, or she's a professor of Greek mythology, and she's part Greek, so she knows all of Greek mythology and she understands it. She's just trying to make it into a fun story, and I see that in her writing. I love it. I want to read I think she made a sci-fi series. I'm not a big fan of sci-fi other than like Star Wars. I'll watch Star Wars, but I do want to read more books from her because I love her writing. And just the way she did this book was just it was just magical, basically. It was just so enticing. And I loved it. Yeah, I gave it 5 stars. I have no complaints about it. Definitely read the trigger warnings before you read this book, because there is a part of the book where Lore is explaining something that could be triggering to some people. It's just absolutely traumatic what she experienced after her already traumatic experience with her family dying. It's just like she had nothing good happen to her for a little bit, other than she made a friend, and she had to leave behind that friend. It was just like, this book actually, it kind of makes you want to cry. This book kind of makes you want to cry. I didn't cry. I haven't had one good book make me cry. That doesn't mean a book's bad, but I want a book that makes me cry. But this one was close to it. Like, just reading her experiences, I was gasping audibly. I was anxious to read the next page. I was like skipping ahead to read the next page and then going back. This book was just so well done, and I really enjoyed it. And I highly, highly recommend this book. I'm so glad that I read it for my Fable book club. It was such a good it was such a good breath of fresh air from the fantasy that I had been nonstop reading. Like, I don't know if I would consider this fantasy. It is technically fantasy, but I want to put it in like its own category of like, it's not fantasy. To me, it's not fantasy. Retellings of stories and characters and stuff like that are not fantasy to me. They're their own little category. They're called retellings for a reason. That's my opinion. So I definitely recommend this book, and I'm really excited to read more from Alexandra Bracken, and I hope she writes more Greek mythology retellings, I would just read that in a heartbeat. Alexandra Brecken, this is do it. This is me telling you to do it. I'll read it. If you want me to like read it while you're writing, I don't want to do that. Like, this is amazing. I love your book. And I want to read more by you, but this is just like, I need more. I need like an Athena retelling, or maybe I don't know, an Odysseus retelling. Let's go back to the Iliad and the Odyssey and make a retelling. That'd be fun. That'd be awesome. I just enjoy the retellings of Greek mythology, and she did it amazingly. She just did it so well. Her writing, I could just read right through like butter. It was so good. The plot was amazing. The settings were beautiful and sometimes a little creepy and eerie. Characters, so well rounded. There was not really one flat character I could find in the book, other than the needed flat characters that hold no grounds to the story. It was just so well done, and I need more. This is my warning. I need more. But hopefully I enjoy September's book just as much as I enjoyed this month. I will talk about it more on Saturday when I do my September TBR of like all I am reading for September. But little sneak peek, I started this yesterday. This is Asylum by Madeline Rowe, by the same author who wrote Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. So this is probably the first book of September I will have done. Really enjoying it. This is creepy. But yeah, I'll talk more about the books I'm reading in September and kind of into October, because I'm not sure I'll get everything done. And if you want to join the Fable group, I will hopefully have it linked down below. If the link doesn't work, you'll find it on my Instagram. So I hope everyone has a great day, and thanks for watching my videos. Bye-bye.